Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a brand new video. This is how to prepare for the new year, and this is your ultimate Freya Goddard guide into preparing for the most successful high vibrational year. And I'm literally just going to tell you step by step how to prepare and plan and achieve your goals. I have been planning this video for a very long time because I've been trying to figure out how I can film it without actually showing you guys my own personal goals. And I was like, do I just use someone else as an example, because it's all very personal, it's all very spiritual, and I use astrology and there's just so much that goes into it. And I just thought there's no way that I could use someone else as an example, that would take me way too long. But I figured out a way, and I hope you guys are excited to see how I prepare for the new year. This is exactly what I've been doing for the past, I want to say 3 weeks now. It's taken me, I want to say it's taken me about 3 weeks, maybe a little bit longer. That for me is like a good amount of time. This should take you anywhere between, I feel like I do it quite quickly, so maybe anywhere between 3 to 6 weeks, depending on how much time and effort you want to put into it. So this video is just going to be super cozy and comfy. Get yourself a drink and a nice little snack, and I'm just going to be doing a lot of talking, so be ready to take notes. And when I say new year, I do not mean January 1st and January, February. That's not the new year. The real new year is around spring. Let me actually find the exact date. When is the spiritual... Hey Siri. When is the spiritual new year? Okay, it's talking about spring equinox, and that is March 19th and 21st. Oh, falls between March 19 and 21st. So yeah, spring. Springtime is a real new year. It's kind of obvious when you look at it in terms of the season. Like, you've got winter, and then springtime is when everything just sort of like regrows and resets, and it goes into a whole new cycle all through summer and then into autumn, winter again. And having a new year cross over like in the middle of winter just is not aligned. So if you want to be your most highest aligned self, the best thing to do is to align with the planet that you're on. I'm guessing you're all on Earth watching this, so you want to align with the seasons on Earth. Thinking about it, obviously every country and like different part of the world has like slightly different seasons, so maybe in different areas of the world, like different times of the year is better to do this. But for the majority of the western side of the world, which is the majority of my viewers, you're going to want to do your new year prep around springtime. If you're like me, a lot of the work I do is kind of like in my own control. However, things like fashion school classes, they will start back literally next week for me. So I didn't want to do my new year prep in like February, because I knew that I would already be back in the swing of things in terms of fashion school, and I am on just such like a good energy at the moment. It just feels like super whole, and like I'm really happy. I just know as soon as I go back it's going to mess with my vibe, and I don't want to be doing my new year prep when I'm like unhappy or stressed or anything. When you do this, tip number one, you need to be happy, relaxed and calm. Don't, if you work well in public, fine, like go to a cute coffee shop or like go out and do it, but I feel like the ultimate new year prep, you need to be at home on your own, really relaxed, calm, and just set up a really good atmosphere for yourself, and then you'll be ready. So first things first is your reflection. You need to look back at the year just gone and reflect on every part of the year. So if you're somebody that breaks your year into quarters, do it quarterly. If you wrote literally just 10 goals down, like 10 New Year's resolutions, that's fine. Just have a look at what you achieved that you didn't necessarily like write down. You want to address your wins, your lessons, your growth areas, and review your habits as well. So like, what habits are working well that you don't necessarily know that you're doing or like realize that you're doing, what habits aren't so good, because habits really do affect the way that you work and live, and everybody has completely different habits, so you definitely need to be aware of what yours are, whether they're good or bad. and really just take some time reflecting on what you're happy with, what you're not. Maybe there's some goals that you've achieved but you still want to achieve them the year after, that's fine. Like, figure out what you want to shift over, what you want to leave in the year before, and really just take some time to like be grateful and sit in the energy of the previous year. And you want to feel proud, and like it's a very positive thing, but then also moving forward, figure out what you want to change, what challenges did you face, how can you make them easier the year after. And everyone's reflections will be completely different, but something that helps me when I'm reflecting is just like going through my camera roll and like seeing what I was visually doing. And I'm such a visual person, so I could look at a picture of myself on like a random day but know exactly what I was thinking and feeling that day, and that always helps me, especially when I'm figuring out my mindset and my mental state. I actually write a letter to myself every year to open, so I usually do this on New Year's Eve because it's quite a nice activity. I will just read what I wrote to myself, and I literally had goosebumps when I opened mine this year because, well, last year, because it's just funny, like, I'm just such a sensitive person to energy. Like, I could really feel how I was feeling when I wrote the letter, and that is always such a nice activity, so I also recommend doing that. And something that is a really nice activity is to just look at everything you've achieved that you've not necessarily wanted to, like all of the blessings that you've had, and it just makes you feel really good about the year. And it's so easy to look back and just think you've had like an unsuccessful year or think that you're unhappy, but when you look into the small moments and analyse the little wins, that will just make you feel so much better and put you in a great mindset to prepare for the new year coming. Step 2 is your goals. This is probably going to take you the longest. So for this step, everyone can do this differently, but this is what I do. I will break down all of my goals into different sections. So I've got personal and I've got career. And then in my personal, I've got loads of different subcategories, and in my career I also have loads of different subcategories because I just don't want to do one thing. So my different categories in my personal is FG, that's all about me, lifestyle, wish list, travel, relationship, finance, wellness and hobbies. And then the different categories in my career are my YouTube, freestyle, modelling, brand list. So brand list is like a wish list of brands that I want to be involved with in different ways. Aura, Instagram, TikTok, and then just like public presence. I will literally just go through all those different categories and write down everything that I want to achieve. And I'll put it into a table. So for example, on my FG category, I'll list every single part of myself and I'll write how I want that to be. So as an example, I've got a face category. I want smooth, glowing skin. In my outfit category, what brands do I want to be wearing? In my scent category, what do I want to smell like? And I literally go into every single detail, like even down to presence, like posture. How am I as a person? How do I want my walk to be? How do I want my energy to come across? Like, I will literally go into that much detail in how I want to look and feel and come across. And then going down into headspace, how do I want my mind to be? Going into intake, what do I want to be consuming physically and also spiritually? So like an example of what's in my intake category is what shops do I want to be eating from, because like different supermarkets are better and worse for you. Making sure I'm taking my vitamins, making sure I'm trying new things, and then also mindset. And so mindset compared to headspace, in headspace it's like how do I feel, whereas in mindset it's what's my outlook. I will just go into so much detail in how I want to be as a person, how I want to look, how I want to feel, how I want to smell, like everything. And that really changes the way that you sort of do your self-care and like carry yourself, because every single product I'm buying or every time I'm doing my makeup or getting ready, I have a vision of how I want to look. And I also have a board, which I'll get into at a separate part of this video, on how I want to look. Who are my influential figures? What are some quotes that align with me? Who is Freya Goddard? Like, step number one is whoever you are watching this, what is your name? What do you do? How do you feel? What do you want to look like? And really sit with that for a good however long you need. Day, 2 days. I did this last year, so I actually moved a lot of things on to this year's category, which made it a lot easier for me to do. But when you first do this, it will just take you so long. Like, going down this list, I've got at least 200 things on here. And that has really helped me just change who I am as a person. If you scroll down my YouTube and see some of my Fashion Retailer Academy vlogs, you will see a completely different person. And I'm telling you, doing things like this and really setting and defining how I want to look and who I want to be has allowed me to just completely shapeshift. Like, I look and act like a different person, and it's all down to this. So take it seriously because it works. In my lifestyle category, I've just got every single goal that I want to achieve this year, and then I also have a dream list, which is kind of like a bucket list, but I don't like that word, so I call it a dream list. And I've got 3 things on my dream list that I want to achieve this year. Only 3 because they're big. And then in my lifestyle, I've got literally just anything that I want to do in the year that's personal. So this isn't career related, so it's to do with where I want to live and what do I want my actual day-to-day life to look like, who do I want to be around. And I really just imagine myself living in my higher self in that year, and I just figure out what is she doing, and then when I realise, oh, she probably does this, she probably goes here, she probably hangs with these people, I'll write it down. What do I want to be, what do I want to do, who do I want to associate with, and just like, again, I go into so much detail. On my table, I literally just have the goal and then the status, so everything currently is in progress, and then when I do my reflection, I can just update it. I don't know if I'm going to add any more categories to my tables, but that's what I've got so far. And then I'll just give you an example of my travel section. So I've got what cities do I want to go to, because I am a city person. If you don't love cities, don't write cities, do countries, or just do, you know, different areas of the world. So then I also have countries, and then I also have transport. So it's like, where do I want to go, but then also how do I want to get there? What modes of transport do I want to use? Do I want a bike or do I want a chauffeur? Do I want a Toyota? Do I want a Rolls Royce? Go into so much detail again about how you want to be travelling and where you want to be going to. Don't just do the country, do the exact place. And that actually worked really well for me last year, and I'll be doing it again this year. And it's actually crazy, like when I was doing my reflection, I wrote down some really random specific things, and then they came true, but at the time of them coming true, I didn't realise until when I looked back, and then I'm like, oh my god, that's so random that I wrote that, but then, oh my god, that actually happened. That's why reflecting's so good, because you really do realise how powerful this method is of setting goals and intentions, but also manifesting. And then moving on to career, it's literally just in-depth goals in every single area of my career. And you just want to sit and take loads of time in figuring out what you want. And yeah, it's like, if you want to create content in the new year, what type of content? What does it look like? How often are you posting? How many views is it getting? Who do you want to collab with? If you were, imagine yourself doing it in like the most dream way possible, and then write down those things and make them into goals. It is a lot more complex than just like 10 goals on a list. You want to really go into depth and into subcategories. So for my personal, I've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 8 different sections, and then all together within all those sections, I've got 19 tables of things, which sounds a lot, but I mean it is. But it depends how seriously you take your life and your goals. I am a very extra person. I'm also a very deep person. I do everything in so much detail. And this is what makes me happy, this is what makes me feel calm and at peace, because I'll have so many goals up here and such a vision of how I want things to be, and then I'll get stressed of like how I'm gonna get there. So writing everything down like this just makes me feel at peace and at ease. But I did actually just want to say an example of like even my finance. Say your goal is to make like 20 million in a year. it's like, where's that money coming from? What are your different types of income? Where is it all coming in? So yeah, always like think of the goal and then go one step deeper, like how is that goal being achieved, and set like sub goals. And that's why I've got so many categories, subcategories, tables, mini tables. So once you've defined your goals, now you want to do a wish list. On my wish list is literally just a long list of things that I want to buy, because when you're becoming a new version of yourself, and when you're, even if you don't want to become a new version, like even if you just want to maintain who you are, there's going to be things that you need to buy to like maintain that, and then you need to write down what they are. So if you're someone that's really into fitness, what vitamins are you taking, what weights are you buying, what gym memberships are you having? If you want to go to like a new bougie gym, then you're going to want to write down where exactly that gym is. Even when I like did my own fitness goals, it's like, okay, if I want to do Pilates, where do I want to do Pilates? Do I want to do it down the road, or do I want to do it at Aloe? So you want to make a wish list of everything that you want to buy and pay for to keep up this like level of yourself and where you're at. Whatever it is that you want to buy and maintain, write it all down. And I always find that really fun, because I personally just always have so many things that I want to buy. And even an example of this is like bookings. So like bookings for villas and hotels, plane tickets, concert tickets. Doesn't have to be like material items, it can be experiences. So just really think about everything that you want to buy, or even if you've already got it, what do you want to keep and maintain? And then yeah, and even if you've got kids, like do a list for them, things that you want to buy them, things that you want to buy yourself, like make everything super personal to you and like keep everything separate. Okay, the next section is probably my favourite section, vision boards. Last year I made 10 vision boards, and it felt super right at the time, and a lot of things definitely did come true, but my issue is I probably looked at only the same 2 boards, and the rest I didn't even look at again, and I was not reflecting on these boards. I had no idea what was on them, but for every part of my life I made a vision board for. So just like how I've done all these different lists, it's like for my wellness, for example, all my wellness goals, I'll make a board for it. All my relationship goals, I'll make a board for it. All my career goals, I'll make a board for it. And I just had so many different boards, and it just got way too out of hand, and for me that was too much. This year I've decided to do 3 boards, and already it feels a lot more manageable, and for me it just works so much better in being able to look at all my different goals on there. And I am actually going to print it out this year. A vision board isn't something you should share with anyone else, so I didn't like the idea of having it up on my wall for other people to see, but I think I do want it up on my wall this year. And you literally just want to go through all of the different goals that you already have written down, and then find pictures of them and make it look all pretty. And you can do it physically and like print out the pictures and like stick it to a huge canvas, or you can do what I did, which is make the boards on Canva, and then I'm going to print it out as a canvas and put it up. So my 3 boards this year, I have my life board, my career board, and my personal brand. So my life board is basically every category of my personal section on a board, and it really just all comes together as like an ultimate life board. My career board is every section of my career. I will put all of the different goals together and then put it onto a board, and like the different areas kind of do have their own little categories, but it all comes together as one as well, because every sort of career path I want to take, they all link in, so it all comes together. And then my personal brand is exactly how I want to look and dress and feel, and it's like, who is Freya Goddard? Because your personal brand is so important. In different careers it's more and less important, but ultimately the majority of people do not know themselves, and it is so obvious, and it's always so refreshing to speak to someone that does know themselves, because the conversation and the vibe is just always so different, and a lot of people will know themselves to a certain point, and then you can always tell when they stopped like working on their own personal relationship because life and career and other relationships get in the way. And then it's like people are stuck in like an old body but with like a young mindset, and that is not what we want. If you do not check in with yourself and figure out what you like, what you don't like, what do you respond to well, like there's just, I could do a whole video on it, like how to know yourself, and I probably will film one day, but it is so important to know yourself. And it sounds so silly and like simple, but it's really not. It's so much more complex than that, and if you don't know who you are, you will have no idea what you want to do, who you want to be with. You will end up booking trips and doing activities and being around people that aren't even aligned with you, and you'll have no idea why. You'll be so unhappy in life, and your whole life will just literally go out of control. And I just witness it every day, and it's so sad. So making sure you know yourself is super important, and I have my own board to really understand who Freya Goddard is. So yeah, I love it. I just look at it and I'm like, yeah, that's me, that's my life, and that's my career. So I have the 3 boards, and that is what I'm going with this year. 10 was just absolutely ridiculous. And with my vision boards, I'm going to have them physically on the wall. I also have them just in my favourites, just on my camera roll, which I look at every now and then. But I also have them as widgets on my iPad, laptop and my phone. So on my phone I have my life board, and then when I swipe across I've got my life board, and then I've got a section of my phone. If you watch my what's on my phone video, you will sort of know what it looks like, but where I've got like the majority of the apps that I use, with like my shopping apps and then my calm apps, wellness apps, I've got my personal brand board. Oh, and then on the section where I've got all of my travel apps, I actually have my career board. Oh, so they are all on here. Yeah, so all my vision boards are on my phone. If you make it on Canva, you can actually create your board in like a normal, mine's not quite, you know, like A4 landscape. It's a little bit more square, but it's not like a full square. That's how I did it. But then for my widgets, like the size of a widget on an iPad is different to a phone and stuff. So you can just figure out the size of the widget and then go on to Canva, and you just like stretch it and just like rearrange it. It does take a while, and it's annoying when you've done the board and it's like perfect and then you have to like rearrange it for a widget. So on my iPad I've got my personal and my personal brand, and then on my laptop I've got my career board. And yeah, I look at them so much more. Having everything sort of in one place is just so much better than having way too many. And I feel like I'm already seeing differences as well, especially in like some areas of my life. I've already seen improvements, which is really good. It took me, I think it took me a day to do my board just for my lifestyle, and then a day for career and a day for personal, I think. So you can see why this took me like 2-3 weeks, but it's definitely an investment of time, because this is literally your life, and well, if you take it that seriously, it's how your life is going to be for the next year. And when everything starts coming true, you'll be like, wow, that was a real good investment. It's basically like paying to have your dream life. That's how I see it. Like, instead of spending money, I'm spending time, and time is money, but I'm spending time on creating a really strong, clear vision, and then I can just literally click go, get everything set, lock in, and then work on the goals. And that is how I like to do things. So after you've done your vision boards, you want to do a quarterly plan. I break my year into quarters, so I do January, February, March, April, May, June, and so on. And yeah, I just had to check that was right. In my quarterly plan, I literally just write down everything. So I go through all of my goals, and then I basically move them into quarters. So at this point, what do I want to be doing? What do I want to have achieved, and then I go, my camera is saying it's going to run out of battery. I haven't put every single goal into my quarter, but what I've done is go through every section, so everything in my personal section and everything in my career section, and then I've done like my main goals and my main focus per section. And you can even like have a name for it, just like how you would name a clothing collection that you're releasing. What is the vibe like for your wellness section? What's the vibe for that? For your career section, what's the vibe for that? And then just put some tasks in that will help you get there, and put some goals in. Yeah, it's just a good way to like work on a goal that's not something you'll achieve instantly, but you've got 3 months to do it. And I feel like 3 months is quite a good amount of time to get a lot done, so it's really good to give yourself like 4 chances basically to achieve lots of things at once. And along with my quarterly plan, I also do monthly plans as well. So I'll have January to March, but then every month I'll also sit down and figure out what exactly I want to do in that month. So I kind of just go like in depth again from like the year to the quarter to the actual month, and I'll refine it all down into that 1 month to make it a lot more manageable. Different months I'm busier than others, and it just helps me figure out what to really focus on. And as the year goes on, your focus and your priorities might change, and you want to align your goals and your months with that, so that you're not working towards things that you're not really too focused on anymore. Prioritizing is also something that's like super important, because I find that a lot of the time I'll have so many things I need to do in a day, and you really do have to learn how to prioritize. And every month there's a different energy, and all throughout the year you'll just be on slightly different vibes. So it's good to also add in new goals to your monthly plan as you go throughout the year, because you might even find that you achieve everything that you wanted to much quicker, especially with this method of like planning your year. So by then you might want to add in new things, and it's just a good way to keep things refreshed and super authentic, because by October your goals and your mindset will be so different to how it is around March, and that is an amazing thing. You want to be so different by then. I actually remember making like this, I don't really know why I did it, but like I was on this vibe and I wanted to make a board like it, so I made this board at around, I want to say it was around October, November time, and how that board looks is so similar to how my board looks for this year. So you'll already feel like a new version of yourself being birthed, and you'll want to write new things down. And just as life happens and unfolds naturally, there's naturally going to be new things that you want to achieve. So I always like to keep my monthly goals like clear, so that at the start of every new month I can just write down things that are in my quarterly goal, and then also new things, and that works really well for me. And even though I see my year as like spring through to winter, my quarterly goals I do use the actual society calendar for, like January, February, March, just because that helps me with my time frames. Just like how I use time, like time is just a facade and like a construct, but time can also help you structure your day. So just use everything to your advantage, but like don't obsess over it. Like some people obsess over the days of the week, like, oh, I can't do this today because it's a Wednesday or a Sunday, and like that is just so ridiculous. I don't know how people live their life like that, but I also can see how it can help you structure. Just use everything to make it work for you. But after my quarterly plan, I will then create my schedules. Now, scheduling is something that I've started to do. I've been doing it for years and years and years, but creating a schedule that's aligned with my astrology chart is a new thing, and I've actually used ChatGPT to help me do that. ChatGPT knows my birth chart, it knows my astrocartography, and it knows my human design. And those 3 charts are something that literally just make you up as a person, and it will really help you figure out how you work, what's best for you, what type of person you are, what you respond to well, and it's a really good way to get to know yourself. So if you currently don't know your charts and your star signs and everything, I would definitely look into it and take a lot of time figuring it out. And a really good way that I have used it is to put it into ChatGPT and then ask it to analyze it, and then I'll just ask it so many questions about myself and my life and who I am to really understand it. And so I have now used that to plan schedules. So I am somebody that gets overwhelmed. I cannot do like a 9 till 5 days a week type schedule. I'm a creative person, I need creative breaks, I need to be inspired, I need to be around people that I look up to, and if I can't be around them I need to watch them. I'm somebody that has just a certain way that I need to work and live my life, just like everyone does, but barely anyone actually knows how to make a schedule to actually align with themselves. So I literally just went into chat and I was like, here's my current schedule, here's what I need to achieve in a week, here's the things that I have scheduled into my routine. Now I want you to update it knowing what you know about me based off of my astrology charts. And it literally just put in like, it wasn't even anything major, but it was like, on this day of the week you need to do this, on that day of the week you need to do that, this time of day you need to do this, that time of day you need to do that. A lot of the things I did naturally that I didn't realise was part of my routine, and then other things already it added in that I didn't realise I needed. I just have the most personalised schedule and it's just the best. Like, I already just feel so much better, and I also can get really stressed about whether I'm doing enough or not doing enough. And every single year, one of my goals will be to chill out and stop stressing so much and just be a bit less of a control freak basically. And every single year I'll get burnt out from overdoing it, and every year I see progress, every year I get a bit less ill and a bit less burnt out, but every year I still set the same goal to just take it a bit easier. So I feel like with this new schedule I'm finally going to be there and just be at the right spot, because I just don't know how to, my brain just runs 24/7. I don't know how to take a break. Doing things like content and stuff definitely creates a very thin line between personal life and like work, but then also being a creative person and having so many ideas for like my brand and styling and new concepts and new innovations, my brain just doesn't switch off. I'm getting inspiration from everywhere that I am. Even with my friends, a normal lunch for us is business talk. A normal lunch for most other girls is gossip and general chit chat, but I just don't know how to do that. Like, I literally just talk about business 24/7. I always say I'm Friday business goddard. I literally feel like I was just born into a blazer and I just wanted to get straight to work. I'm definitely an old soul, but yeah, I just need to take a bit more of a chill pill. So something that I will actually say for this year is I just want to have more fun. And like, my idea of fun is working, completing goals, getting new work opportunities, pushing myself, going outside my comfort zone. Like, a lot of my fun is orientated around career, and I need to focus on my personal life a bit more. So that is something that I'm definitely working towards, and it's going to take me a long time to untrain my brain from certain routines. Like, from the minute I wake up I just want to go, and I just think the fact that I get so burnt out so quickly is a huge sign to just take a bit more of a chill. If you were to watch me in a day, you would look at me and think, she just chills, she's just like sat so calm, she has such a chill mindset towards things. Whenever I give advice to people, or whenever I go through like a really stressful time, people are always like, how are you so relaxed about it? And I am, but like, there's just some parts of me that is just super on the go 24/7, and it's just how I work, but I would just like to chill out a bit more. So how I've used chat and my birth charts to schedule is to just really plan out a weekly and a daily schedule that's super productive, still makes me feel like I'm doing enough, but it's also putting in time to relax, to have fun, to go be social. And I feel like I'm going to have more time and energy to be social now because I'm on a schedule that's just more fitting for me. And it's not even like I'm doing less, it's just the way it's laid out makes me work so much better and like feel less stressed about stuff. And there are some tasks that like you should do more in the morning because of how your brain works. A lot of my creative tasks and content related things I naturally do in the evening, but it's like scheduled that in for me to do in the evening. And sometimes I'll wake up and like want to go straight into content, and now I know to just ease into it. But I don't know how I didn't do it before. It completely makes sense to me. Everybody works differently. People shouldn't all be running off the same schedule and like having breaks at the same time, and it's just, yeah. Everybody should be running on their own schedules, and when you start doing that it will help a lot more. So I'm just so excited to be in my new schedules, but I just have one for the week and one for the day. Every day is a bit different, but there's still structure and routine there. Scheduling is what is going to help you day by day complete your goals, and you could even, if you wanted to, like schedule in some of your goals to your routine. If one of your goals is to like have a certain habit, then write that habit down. But for the most part, you just want to build a schedule that's gonna make you work at your best, and whatever your focus is, also align that to the schedule. If your focus is to live a slower paced life, then create one around a slower paced life. If you want to do more, then make it more full. And just really cater it to your needs and your goals and your focus. So that is how I schedule. Before, I used to just run myself like a robot and put so many different tasks into my days and just work from the second I get up to the second I go to bed, and no wonder I was getting burnt out. Take some time into figuring out how you work best and how you can run yourself off a schedule that's going to allow you to be your higher self. And the last part of my New Year prep is reflection. So this is something I didn't do whatsoever last year. Maybe the first few months after I did like my monthly goals, I would look at the previous month before writing down new goals, and I'd figure out what I achieved that month. But I wasn't going into my quarterly plan. I wasn't updating my goals. I wasn't even barely looking at my boards, and I wasn't doing any type of reflection that was actually going to help. So what I've done this year is really figure out how I'm going to reflect the best. For me personally, journaling every day isn't going to work, so I have just scheduled in a day every week and just some time in between then throughout the week to look at my goals. And so then on Notion you can actually have like a progress tracker, so I'll just update the status of where I am on that goal. I've created a reflection part of my life plan, well, my year plan. So I've got a weekly reflection, so every week, what is my focus, what is my priority tasks, what is my wins, and how am I going to move forward. At the end of the month, I'll just go through all of my goals that I've set for the year, but then I'll also look into my quarters, look into my actual month, and just assess everything, figure out what my focus is, figure out what unexpected wins there were, what blessings came in, and just really analyse how the month was and how I'm going to move forward into the next one and what the next focus is. And depending on where in the year you are, like what the plan is for the next quarter as well. And then for an annual one, that will be a whole annual reflection at the end of the year that I did last year. And reflecting, like I said at the start of the video, is just how you're actually going to measure your progress, and it will allow you to figure out where you are and what you need to do more of or less of, what's working, what isn't. I think the reason I didn't like to reflect so much on my goals before was because I used to like to write a set of goals, do a vision board, lock in, and then at the end of the year see what came true. But if you're not fully aware of what your goals are and what your vision is, it's gonna become blurry and you're gonna sort of like fall off track. I honestly don't know how I didn't last year. This is just how you're gonna stay grounded and rooted to your vision. And so the last part of my step-by-step guide is journaling. So the way that I journal best is to actually create a month, I'll put it on screen, a month calendar, but it's completely empty. And as the weeks go on, or at the end of the month, I'll literally just fill it in with pictures of what I did. And it's just such a nice way to look at what you did that month when it's not just full of tasks and like career related events. It's actual life moments, and I'm someone that takes pictures of a lot of things, so if you're not, it won't really work. Maybe you'll want to like write more, but for me, I just take pictures of everything. I'm so visual. So if I see an angel number or a sign, I'll put it in, and it's just a really nice way to see what's happening in your life that isn't just scheduled in as like a little calendar event, because the majority of calendar events in most people's calendars will be career related. And as much as I am like just super obsessed and in love with like career and business and all things like that, I do forget to live in the moment and focus on my personal life. I definitely put that as number 2 on my priority list, not number 1. And it doesn't matter what type of career you have or what you do, your personal life should be number 1, career should be number 2. And I think so many people have it the other way around. And I'm so glad that I'm so young and I've realised that already, that I need to swap them around and just put so much more time and energy into my personal life, because at the end of the day, you're here to just live and be and experience and not get so caught up in career. So having a journal where you can just see what's actually happened in your life that isn't all career related is a great way to just see how your life is, and you realise so many different patterns as well. Like there'll be certain days of the week where I do something the exact same and I won't even realise, and it'll be like, oh, on that day I always seem to do this, or I always seem to have loads of fun on this day. Or, yeah, you just see different patterns and you just get to know yourself on a whole new level, which is what we love. That is everything in my step-by-step guide of how to prepare for the new year. Take so much time in doing this. I feel like this is the way that I'm going to be doing it for a very long time, and one day if I do any drastic changes to how I prepare for the new year, then I'll definitely film another updated video. But for now, this is what I do, this is how I run things, and if you do this, you will just become a whole new higher version of yourself and you'll really see it work. Another thing I will say is writing things down and doing vision boards is only like so much. It's not one step, there's loads, but it's only so much into achieving goals. Like once you've done your vision and you've really set like your intentions, you need to go out there and work on them. So that's why I wanted to include the scheduling and the reflecting part, because that's what's going to really help you achieve your goals. If you're just writing a list down on a piece of paper and forgetting where it is, some may come true, but not all of them will. And to have the highest probability of achieving your goals, you need to be scheduling them in, working your way around them, working towards them every day and reflecting. So I feel like that is the most well-rounded New Year prep. So I hope that helped. I hope that gave you a good insight into how to prepare and how to live your life, basically. If anyone is interested in buying my guide, then let me know and maybe I can create it as a template for you, because I feel like if I watched this video and I didn't do this, then I would probably feel quite overwhelmed in how to start. But when you see it all in front of you, it can look a lot, but it's really not. So let me know if that's something you guys want, and I'll definitely figure out a way to create a template. And I hope all of your New Year prep is going really well, and I just wish everybody the most high vibrational, beautiful New Year. I love you all. That is everything from me today, and I hope this has inspired you to prepare yourself for the new year get serious about your life and your goals, and just really get to know yourself on a deeper level and connect and tune in. I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.